I want to talk about our redheaded friend on the defensive line, Scott Matlock, the sixth-round pick from Boise State. Jim Harbaugh can't seem to get enough of this guy. Kyle, what you got on this guy?
You probably recognize him, Garrett, because I think he looks like a lot of the people you're running around with right now, right? Like kind of like a Viking lord over there,
Yeah,
straight out of Iceland or Norway or Sweden or anything.
exactly.
He is. I was so excited when I was riding with Bolts from the Blue and we drafted him and I looked into him. I can't say I was excited when we drafted him because I didn't know who he was. I didn't know anything about him. And then you looked into him and in his time at Boise State, he was really a guy that led that squad. The coaches couldn't speak highly enough about him. A really selfless player that regularly took on double or sometimes even triple teams because he was that dominant on the line for them and was also tasked with a bunch of extra stuff too, kind of like a JJ Watt-esque, light guy for his squad when they needed an impact guy to come in on offense and be that extra lineman or tight end at the edge of the line. He would go out there and could catch a touchdown for him. I think he had 2 in his career. He's just a really versatile guy, versatile piece that plays with a really, really high motor and just like Jim Harbaugh, loves football. So he's somebody I'm definitely high on. We wrote about him at Stormcloud, kind of covering how Jim was crushing on this dude. If you look at the guys that Jim has been shouting out, it's been a lot of the leaders on the team. He's given Herbert love, of course, Slater, Mack, Bosa, Derwin, and he gives all these guys love. And then he just throws Scott Matlock into that group. And you're kind of like, wait a minute, like what's Scotty doing that's made him go from what he was with Staley, which was, he didn't really get on the field until Gift took over, to now Jim is like grouping him in with in the same breath as the elites on this team. So Garrett, and looking into him, what do you think his kind of outlook and projection is for this year?
So high hopes, I think we have high hopes for everybody on this roster right now. I think it's just new beginnings kind of mentality. Everyone's got a clean slate. I love stories. I love backstories. I love to see what molded the man kind of thing. And Bridget Condon with NFL Network had a little bit on him, and she mentioned that he was a foster child. He lost both of his parents before high school. And it's unfortunate as that is, he's kind of taken that and used that as his fuel to play high school football, end up in a small town in Idaho, and using football as like his way to express himself. And to come from such, I don't even want to say humble beginnings because I feel like that's an understatement, but for him to go through what he went through and to now be on the forefront of this up and coming team, I think it speaks so much to his character and his ability to take something that's bad and handle that adversity and apply that going forward. And to be a leader in the locker room, and in this kind of touted locker room where we have a Herbert, a Khalil Mack, and a Joey Bosa, and a Jim Harbaugh, to notice him, I mean, that speaks for itself.
Totally.
Yeah, and just some of the quotes. I mean, we've all seen the Harbaugh interviews, but he said he's there every day, and Jim Harbaugh loves that TED acronym, right? He's there every day. He also, during that conditioning test, which he smoked, by the way, so he's super fit, but he felt that the grass was a little too soft, and he wasn't able to cut and turn. So he went back and he started patting it down for everyone else getting ready to do their conditioning test. And again, it's actions speaking louder than words. It's easy to go out there and talk the talk, but now he's out there backing it up, and I'm just extremely excited for him.
And if our viewers are wondering why he might improve significantly from last year over this year, he's an example of a player that might just be a better fit in a simplified defensive scheme.